What's up guys, Stephanie here and welcome to this channel's first product review. No, we're not reviewing the cocktail recipe. Today we're reviewing the Feyutech A2000 Gimbal. I'll post a link to a video I posted a couple of weeks ago unboxing the Feyutech A2000 Gimbal. And that video was mostly about aesthetics, packaging, and initial impressions. Now that I've had some time to use the gimbal and develop some opinions of my own about its functionality, I'm doing another video reviewing the actual product itself and how well I think it works to stabilize footage and do its job. First, let's start out with the overall make of the gimbal. It's mostly made of metal, which is great. It's really sturdy, definitely feels durable. One negative of that though is it does get a little bit heavy if you're holding it for longer periods of time. So maybe hit the gym, try to strengthen up that upper body a little bit, but overall, really sturdy, really great product in terms of quality. The second feature I really enjoy is the tripod. So there's a tripod on the bottom here. It just screws into the bottom, screws off, screws on. I've actually detached this and just screwed it right onto the bottom of my camera as well. So it doesn't necessarily only have to be used with the gimbal. You can use it for other things as well. But what's really cool about this is that it has two different functions. So right now it's on the high function. You can see that the feet are a little bit closer together, which elevates the gimbal or your camera, if you have that directly on here, a little bit higher. If you twist the bottom, it actually raises these a little bit up so that the feet can get lower to the ground, spread out a little bit more, and therefore give you a different viewpoint if it's on your gimbal or if your camera is on it. So really awesome that it has two different height features there. That's something I didn't initially know, and I was just kind of playing around with it and I figured it out. But super awesome, loving that. Next, let's talk about the balancing. So this is a 3-axis gimbal. I don't have a lot of practice balancing a camera on it, so for me, it's a little bit difficult. It took longer than expected, and I had to make a lot of adjustments. So now to try to minimize time when my camera is off of it and I have to put it back on, I just leave the settings on the 1, 2, and 3rd axis exactly where they were before. So that limits the amount of adjustments that I have to make after the fact. And it's really then just adjusting on this axis right here, forward or backward with the camera. Okay, so now we're gonna throw a couple of videos up comparing gimbal versus no gimbal. And again, I'm using a Sony a6000 camera and a Sigma lens, neither of which have image stabilization. You can see here with the footage of me walking no gimbal, it is really, really bumpy. It doesn't know where it's going, what to focus on, versus with the gimbal, it's super smooth. There's a little bit of shake there, but overall it's focusing on my face very, very well. And when I'm just walking down the street, it does a very good job of stabilizing that image and making it smooth and focused. Even here with the running, you can see virtually unusable footage when it's just handheld. I mean, this camera is shaking all over the place. But on the gimbal side, it's pretty smooth. I mean, I don't have any complaints with this. In fact, in the video of us taking a flight over Smith Mountain Lake, I used this gimbal racing down the side of the runway, trying to film my dad landing his airplane. And in that, you can see there's a little bit of shake there, but overall, the plane is moving, the camera's moving, but there's not a lot of up and down movement that comes with the running, which was really the overall intent of getting this gimbal. And so with that, I'm incredibly satisfied. All right guys, so overall scores. I think quality we have 4.5 out of 5. It's made out of metal, it's super sturdy. When you lock in a setting, it stays, it's not falling out, it's staying within balance. Love it. Functionality, 4.5 out of 5. I think the tripod, especially the fact that it has 2 height settings, is fantastic and a huge asset, particularly when you take into account that this pops off and I can pop it on my camera and go. It's also fairly light. I mean, it gets heavy if you hold it for 15, 20 minutes at a time, but quite frankly, that's a little bit excessive. So if it just comes to taking 5 or 10 minute shots at a time holding the gimbal, I think it's pretty light, it's easy to assemble, Yeah, good score. So would I recommend this gimbal? Yeah, I would absolutely recommend it. I'm a first-time gimbal buyer and user, so in terms of comparing the functionality of this gimbal versus other gimbals in its price point, I'm not necessarily the best person to make that comparison, but simply for functionality, ease of assembly, ease of use for a first-time gimbal user, the interoperability of the tripod that has 2 different functions on it, and the footage that I get out of it when the camera's on it, I'm really happy, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody interested. All right, guys, that does it for me today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. If you find that you have additional questions about the gimbal or the cocktail recipe, leave them in the comments below or direct message me if you feel more comfortable doing that. You can find a link to this gimbal and all the gear that I'm using to make these videos below if you feel so inclined to check those out. And otherwise, thanks for joining. I'll see you guys in the next one.